Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing well out there today. This is the first video in a series. It's going to be called Fairies and Unicorns. I'm using this fabric to cover the outside first. So if you'd like to keep up with the process of making this, or if you're making one of your own and want to follow along, it will be Fairies and Unicorns video 1 and so on. So to begin, first I'll be covering the cardboard with the fabric, and so I need to cut it down to the right size. What I want is for it to cover the entire outside and then fold over on the inside. I'm going to save this piece I trimmed because I like to use the elements that I've selected and use them throughout the journal. So this is the utilitarian part of the journal process, I guess, the thing you have to do. I take a water and glue mixture and I just cover the whole thing, and this is it. It's pretty runny and it's a craft glue just mixed with water, and then I just put it all over the cardboard, and I'll be sure and cover the entire thing the best I can. I have missed parts before, and I did a video showing a journal where I did miss some parts and it bubbled up. So I want to be really sure in the future and today that I get the entire thing covered really well. Now that I have it fully covered, I'm going to flip it over, but first I'm going to put my fabric down. Wrong side up. And then I'm going to center my cardboard on top of that. And press it down. Then I'm going to flip it over and press it down really well, getting all the wrinkles out. I'm going to take this roller and go over it, getting all the air bubbles out and pressing out all that glue. Taking special care on the edges and the spine. So be sure and secure really well here in the spine too. Be sure that glue is stuck well. And then after that dries, the corners need to be trimmed a bit to take that bulk out for when we fold it over. So trim all 4 corners, kind of in a round way, but leaving enough that it'll still cover the corner. And then apply the glue all around the edge, getting it in this part right here too, on that little lip. Be sure the glue goes there. And then we're going to fold it over, pulling it tight and getting down in this crease here. Then we'll go ahead and do the top or the bottom, depending on however you want to look at it with this fabric. There is no actual top and bottom, I guess, except that I want the little half circles to be open at the bottom. Put a little glue underneath this little bit here and put glue over the top and on the fabric, and then need to do both ends. And then we'll just fold it over. I always put book corners on so it will cover up any imperfections in that little flip over, but it works pretty well. If any part of it needs more glue, be sure and do that now. It's the easiest to do it now. And this is going to be covered, so it's okay if it has extra glue. Now we need to do the same on this side. This is a messy process for me anyway. But it's worth it in the end. Okay, now that that's all done on the inside, we need to let that dry. And just be sure here in the spine to mash that down so it glues and holds. And you might want to like close it and then open it again. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry now. It's all dry. I didn't see any bubbles in it, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And I've realized I need to work at this longer desk for these. It doesn't have as good of lighting, but there's just not enough room on my other desk to do that. I'm going to use this paper on the inside of the front and the back. And then I'm going to use part of this on the front, like that. And I want a little edge of the fabric to show all the way around. I'm going to see if I can get this streak of light to go away. I know that I want to cut this right here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Just leaving that little bit at the top. And then I'm going to cut this off right here. And I'm going to use this piece to mark it for where I want to cut it at the bottom. When I get into these bigger projects, I spend a lot of time looking for my supplies, like where's my pen and where's my scissors? I don't know how I lose them all the time, but I seem to. On the front, I'm going to use this as my closure, so I don't need to put any holes in here before I put my paper on. I'm just going to put this on with E6000. On the back, I'm going to put this eyelet in here, right here, to hold my string. So I'm going to do that before I put my paper on, so that'll be hidden. But of course, if you were going to put some kind of hole in here for your string or fabric or ribbon, you'd want to do that before putting your inside on. And then I'm just going to go right up to the edge of this crease, just right up to the edge, because when I put this fabric on, I'm going to have it overlap just a little bit, like that. And I don't want the paper to get down in the crease. So I'm just going to get up real close to that without getting in it. I'm going to glue those down. And the same as always, you'll want to be sure and get the glue on really well so that it doesn't bubble up anywhere. My husband was watching the video when I mentioned that I get glue everywhere, and he said, well, maybe you just use too much glue. I thought that was funny. That's probably true. I probably do. But like I said before, I have had things bubble up and definitely don't want that to happen, so I guess better safe than sorry, and I can always wash my hands. But I thought that was funny. He just was so matter-of-factly like, well, maybe you just used too much glue. I thought that was probably an appropriate observation, as it was oozing out everywhere. I need to get some more of these little clamps. I love these little small pink clamps. I was going to use some little clothespins and go around the edges, but I think that's going to leave indentations in it, and so I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to clip it with these little clamps I have right now. So I put this stack of books on here and it dried flat. First I put down a piece of this wax paper so it wouldn't stick to my books. Now I'm going to get started on the other side using this same piece of paper here. And I can't decide if I want to put it with the green here or on the outside, but as I sit here and look at it, I think, Of course, I always forget that when the book is finished, you won't see the front and the back together, so I don't have to match them perfectly. Meaning that this paper doesn't have to be on the outside like it is on the front. And so I really think I like it better on the inside like this. And I need to decide what I want to put as my other half of the back. I like this. It has this gold on it, and the fabric has gold in it. Some of the stuff I've selected to go in this journal has gold on it, so I could use that. Of course, you know, cut this down. Dragonflies always go with fairies, right? So could use this. I kind of like that. And I do think the dragonfly goes with it fine. So I'm gonna go with that, I think. And I'm definitely gonna save the rest of this paper. I'm not gonna cover that up. So I need to cut that off. I will have it overlap just a little so that there's no gaps. Sometimes my cutting is not the best, and if it overlaps, then I don't have to worry about it as much. What is it they say? Measure twice, cut once. Yeah. I think I need a new cutting tool. I have had this cutting tool for a long time, and it doesn't seem to be as good as some of the ones I've seen people use. I have to sometimes go through this 2 or 3 times to get the paper to cut. And if you have any recommendations about a really good one of these that cuts well on the first time through, I would love to know about it, because I've already flipped it over where it was pretty much ruined on this side, and this was already a replacement, so I wonder if there's something better out there. And I want to cut off of this end down here because it has less of this teal color, and I want to keep that. And again, I'm going to use this to measure for where I want to cut the dragonfly piece. The only thing about these double-sided papers, I love them, except when I have to cut them up and I don't get to use the back. And I'm going to go ahead now and put my whole so that I can put in the eyelet before I put the paper on. So same process again, gluing this down. Gluing this piece down first, so I want my dragonfly on top. And something I've just learned is that since this cardboard, I have to cut it down. It doesn't come this size. I use one of those chopper kind of cutters and cut it down. So I always don't get that perfect, and because of that, it's not a good idea to use the other piece of paper as my measurement. I need to use the journal as my measurement. I'm going to clamp the corners down again, put the books on, and let it dry. I'm going to let it dry like this until it's completely dry, so that the cardboard will stay flat and not buckle up or fold up. So this will probably need to dry for a full day. It has dried overnight with the books on top, and it is nice and flat and nice and dry. I need to put in this charm holder on the spine before I cover up the inside of the spine, so that this will be covered. So I'm going to go ahead and poke the hole at the top of the spine. So I put the hole right here. Got that on. Now I need to cut my fabric down. I just wanted to overlap here a little bit, and enough for me to glue it down in there and still have a little bit lapping over. And I'm going to use the pattern on the fabric to just get my straight edge. I'm going to do the same thing here, just using the fabric as my straight edge, just barely trimming at the top of the half circles. And again with the glue, getting a good coat of glue on that, and especially in little edge or the little trough there. Then I'm going to center it on here. And I'm going to roll out all of the extra bubbles if there are any. I'm going to let it dry closed. Now that the base of the cover is finished, I'm going to go ahead and title this video 1 and release it and get started on decorating the cover, which will be the next video. And everything has turned out well so far. So we have our cover all ready to go now, and I hope to see you in the next video. Hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.